So how many sets should you be doing? How much volume should you be doing? Basically, we're just going to be going over volume, understanding volume, and it's a kind of a sticky subject. It's kind of a sticky subject, you know, some people might get a bit heated from it as well, but we'll get into that in a second. First of all, there's studies online that, you know, recommend people who've been training for X amount of years, X amount of time, that they should be doing, I don't know, 8 sets of this. If you're an advanced athlete, you need to be doing 12 sets, etc. However, you can't really say that, man, because, you know, a lot of people don't know how to train hard, and that's sad. You know, it's training hard is a spectrum in terms of intensity and how hard you train, and that will always dictate the amount of volume you can do. Okay, how hard are you able to train? Your volume, how much sets you should do, etc. in a session, will be dictated by your level of intensity, your level of effort. And by effort, I'm not really talking about, you know, percentages. You know, it's doing 70% of your 1 rep max. I'm talking about your ability to take, you know, sets to failure. Your ability to execute and keep your form the same, keep your last reps looking exactly like your first reps. This is what I'm talking about when it comes to effort. Your ability to keep that level high is going to dictate the amount of volume that you should be doing in your session. It's different for everyone, you know. If you find yourself going above a certain amount of volume that you don't really need to go to, then, you know, it's just going to extend the amount of time it takes for you to recover in between those sets, which is not what you want. You know, it's going to diminish your ability to frequently train a muscle. And again, you know, like I said, this topic is a sticky one, because you're just telling people that they can't train hard. You know, when you hear people saying that they do around 12 to 15 sets of this per session, then, you know, you kind of, I scratch my head. I'm like, really? Is that the amount of sets you're doing? It just tells me that, you know, what do your sets even look like? Like, do you take shit to failure or not? Or are you even going close to failure if you're doing that amount of sets? And it's true, man. Like, the stronger you are, the more you take shit to failure or close to failure, the less amount of volume you're going to be able to do. It's just impossible. Unless you're Ronnie Coleman. You're not Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman used to do some crazy shit. It's crazy amount of sets, taking shit to failure with all the weight in the world. And look at him. He was fine. He was recovering perfectly, but we're not all him. So for some of you, especially beginners, okay, it's going to be hard for you to take a set to failure. Like, it definitely took me a while to learn that, and that's completely okay. So what's the best approach? If you don't go close to failure, can you do more sets? Can you do more volume? Yes, you can. Is it optimal? No. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but let's say if you can't really take sets to failure, then you're going to obviously have to do more volume to somewhat match that level of intensity. Even though you're not really going to match that level of intensity, you're going to be pretty close to matching that level of intensity by accumulating more volume, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Well, yeah, man, it does. Like I said, it does take time to get yourself to a point where, you know, you don't even want to do those last reps because you feel like it's impossible. Your mind, your body's telling you can't do it, but you end up getting out those last 2 reps, those effective reps. It takes a long time to learn how to do that. And trust me, if you're training to that level, then you're not going to need as many sets. Honestly, I used to do a ton of sets for quads and legs back in the day. You know, granted, I wasn't as strong, so it wasn't as fatiguing, but, you know, obviously the stronger you get, the more fatiguing shit gets. I was doing anywhere between 10 to 12 sets I did like 4 sets on the leg press, 4 sets of squats, 4 sets of leg extensions. I was doing 12 plus sets of quads every leg day, and that was like every 3 days. I was sore after every session. I just thought more was more, which it wasn't. But now, literally, quads in a leg day, 6 sets. That's what I pretty much do. And even that is kind of pushing it for me, because I now know how to, you know, take it to that next level of intensity. You know, taking every set to failure, and sometimes even past failure. And once you can do that, like I said, your volume landmarks are going to reduce. Your maximum recoverable volume, the amount of volume that your body can recover from, is going to drop. It's as simple as that. Okay, I do 6 sets for quads. I might even be able to even do 5 in the future. Depends how strong you get, and that's a big factor. The stronger you get, you know, the more fatiguing the shit is going to be. The less likely it is for you to go. The less likely it's going to be for you to recover from that amount of volume. But honestly, I do feel like training to failure is the most optimal way to train. You know, it's not really realistic for a beginner to train like that. I know some people who do, but the reason why you don't really want, you know, volume to be the main driver for hypertrophy, you know, doing sets on sets on sets, even though you can, is because, you know, you're not really tapping into those effective reps. So effective reps are pretty much, you know, those reps, you know, shy of failure. Let's say 3-4 reps shy of failure, where the muscle is pretty much grabbing onto as many, you know, motor units as possible, you know, to get that fucking weight off you, pretty much. Okay, and when you're doing a reps in reserve kind of type of training, where, you know, you're not going to failure, you may be going like 5 reps shy of failure, doing more sets, then you're not really tapping into those effective reps as much. And effective reps is where the gains are. Okay, effective reps is where, you know, it forces adaptation, it forces that novel stimulus to happen, because you're literally grabbing onto everything the muscle has to get that weight off you. Okay, that's why low volume training, mechanical tension being the main driver of hypertrophy, aggressive unit synergy, making sure you're getting one more rep, increasing weight over time, is probably the most optimal way to train. I'm not gonna lie, man, it's what I've been doing for like the last 2 years, and it's been working. So if you're serious about training, if you're serious about taking your physique to the next level, make sure you're taking things to failure. Well, make sure you learn to take things to failure, learn to execute properly, learn to standardize your form, and then from there you'll know how much volume. From there you'll pretty much know how much volume you need. I can't really tell you that. You'll know how much volume you need. You know, if you do 8 sets of quads on Monday and it's Friday and you're still fucked, then, you know, maybe you need to ease down the volume a bit. But like I said, it all comes down to how hard you're training, the level of intensity. That's going to dictate how much volume that you can do from session to session. And that's pretty much it. It's going to be slightly different for everyone. And that's just pretty much my take on volume right now. You know, I don't think it's hard. If you train like a pussy, then you're going to have to do more sets. Let's just say that. But that's pretty much it, man. So if you did like the video, please leave a like. If you have any questions, comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.